Shalom, shalom, Shabbat shalom, man. All praises to the Most High God. Uh, all praises that wicked holiday is now over, man. It was cringing me out last night just seeing the kids on the street walking from door to door, and I said they better not knock on my door. Bet not knock on my door, man. You know what I'm saying? All praises that these holidays are getting over with, man, because it's a cringy season, man. It's a cringy season. Shabbat Shalom. Um, Today shouldn't be a long lesson, man, but the title of the video is "You Must Know This Will Happen." This will come to pass what we're going over today. First and foremost, we want to give all honor and glory to the Most High God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We do so by way of his only begotten son, who is an instrument of salvation for the nation, as we recognize as Yahweh Shai, the world recognizes as the man Jesus Christ. And without further ado, man, we'll go ahead and start this lesson. I'm gonna play the trumpet real quick. This is the brother Obadiah blowing the mighty trumpet. I'm not gonna pull it up, but I will play it through the sound. Let me know if you can hear it. All praises, man. Got me out of breath hearing that, man. All praise to the Most High. Again, you must know this will happen. You must know this will happen. Let me share my screen, man, and we can get right into it. We're coming out of the book of Ezekiel, man. Chapter 37, right? It's not infamous, but it's famously known for the dry bones, right? But we're going to be talking about the latter portion. We're going to start around the verse 19. So this is Ezekiel 37, starting at verse 19. And if you don't know, if you're just joining on or whatever, it's going to be faintly right here at the top. If you can't see where we're at, Ezekiel chapter 37. Let's see here. And can I get somebody to volunteer to be the I know we separated some precepts, but can I get somebody to volunteer to be the key speaker, the key reader for the main passage that we're going to be going back and forth from?
I'll read.
Con. Let me pull up my notes real quick. All righty. Ezekiel 37. We're gonna start at verse 19. Oh yeah, by the way, just a heads up, because it might read different in your book. We are coming out of the Good News Translation, the GNT. We do comparative text. I like it. I like the way it reads in both of the translations, the GNT and the KJV. We're gonna be reading out the GNT just to spice it up a little bit, just to switch it up a little bit. We'll read some of the verses in the King James version just to compare. But we're gonna be coming out of the GNT. These are the passages that I sent into our group chat not too long ago. And I just thought it was kind of profound, man. And it's what we used to say, a cut, right? And there's no way around it. And you must know this will happen, right? You must know this will happen. We're going to start Ezekiel 37, starting at verse 19. Brother Azrael, if you could lead us in the reading.
Ezekiel 37, starting at verse 19. Tell them that I, the sovereign Lord, am going to take the stick representing Israel and put it with the one that represents Judah. Out of the two, I will make one stick and hold it in my hand.
Right. So he's telling Ezekiel, man, hey, get you a stick, man, and you're gonna take this one stick representing the kingdom of Israel, and one stick representing the kingdom of Judah. And out of the two, he's going to make them into one stick. There are no more going to be two sticks, right? And we've heard these things before, right? And we're going to make sense of it today. If you can keep reading verse 20.
Verse 20. Hold in your hand the two sticks and let people see them. Then tell them that I, the sovereign Lord, am going to take all my people out of the nations where they have gone, gather them together and bring them back to their own land. I will unite them into the nation, and so I will unite them into one nation in the land, one in the mountains of Israel. They will have one king to rule over them. It will no longer be divided into two nations or split into two kingdoms.
Right. He's going to unite them into one nation again, because they're even back here in Ezekiel, it was told that they were going to be prophesied that they're going to be more than one nation. Right. But he said that he's going to reunite them again. Right. Could I get the book of Galatians 3:28? Right.
The book of Galatians chapter 3, starting at verse 28. There is neither Jew nor Greek.
Right. Those are two nations. Those are two nations right there, right? Jew and Greek, right? What they would have you believe is that Jew is a representative of all the Israelites, right? And that Greek is representative of all the other nations, right? We're here to tell you that's not the case. If you know your history, if you know your Bible, you understand that it was prophesied, right, that there would be two kingdoms. And those two kingdoms, right, would come back together. And that then those two kingdoms will also be referred to as two different nations, right? As we see here in the book of Ezekiel. In the verse 22, it says, I will unite them into one nation in the land of the mountain of Israel, right? And they shall have one king over them, and they will no longer be divided, right? Right? It says they will no longer be divided or split into two kingdoms, right? Because like at the beginning of the verse, they will be one nation again, right? Keep reading on that in Galatians.
Jew nor Greek, there is neither bond nor free. There is neither male nor female, for ye are all one in Christ Jesus, Yahweh Shai Mashiach.
Right. There's neither Jew nor Greek, right? There's neither two nations anymore, for you're all one. Christ had made you one, right? So some people read this and they interpret it as the Son of Man is Ezekiel. Some interpret that the Son of Man is Christ. Either way you look at it, that stick is being brought together again into one, right? So people look at us crazy when we say that Israel can be referred to as multiple nations, right? Here are you seeing in Ezekiel that Israel was divided at least into two nations, but throughout the Bible, we see that Israel has been referred to and has become a multitude of nations. Can I get the book of Sirach 47:21, whoever's holding that? I think it's Brother Isaiah.
Sirach 47:21. Salakia too, my audio, but Sirach 47:21, and it reads, it says, so the kingdom was divided, and out of Ephraim ruled a rebellious kingdom.
Come on, man, right? And I'm just setting the premise here, right? That it's always talked throughout the Bible that the kingdom would be divided or split. You had the southern kingdom, you had the northern kingdom. And who ruled the northern kingdom? Read that one more time for me, Brother Isaiah.
Sirach 47:21 again. So the kingdom was divided, and out of Ephraim ruled a rebellious kingdom.
The rebellious kingdom was led by Ephraim, right? Ephraim was the head of the northern kingdom, or what is referred to as Israel, the house of Israel. That's why you see in verse 19, it says that he was going to be bringing back Israel and Judah. And we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that. Who's holding Genesis 48:19? Because I wanted to set the premise that Ephraim would be leading this rebellious kingdom, right? because the kingdom was split. Does that mean there's only two tribes? No, that means that the tribes went either into one kingdom or the other kingdom, right? And this is not a lesson to go into depth of that, but where Judah, you chiefly had Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, right? And then also the other tribes in the house of Israel being led by Ephraim. Give me Genesis 48 and 19.
Genesis chapter 48 and verse 19. And his father refused and said, I know it, my son, I know it. He also shall become a people. He also shall be great, but truly his younger brother shall be greater than he, and his seed shall be.
Who was the younger brother? The younger brother he's talking to Joseph here, right? I believe, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's talking about his children, and the oldest was Ephraim, I believe, right?
I think it was Manasseh, wasn't it?
The oldest
was Manasseh. They gave the blessing to Ephraim. And he was
gotcha. The oldest was Manasseh. Yeah, that tracks. The oldest one was Manasseh. The youngest was Ephraim, right? Keep reading.
And greater than he, and his seed shall become a multitude of nations.
His Ephraim's seed shall what?
Shall become a multitude of nations.
Ephraim's seed shall become a multitude of nations. When you read that in the Hebrew, right? The word nations right there means goyim. So essentially it's saying that he will become a multitude of what? Gentiles. A multitude of Gentiles. Give me the book of Ephesians 6 and 8. Right? The book of Ephesians 6 and 8. So Ephraim will become a multitude of nations. Does that mean that he will be, he'll no longer be looked at or no longer be classified as an Israelite, right? He'll no longer be an Israelite no more. He's going to change his name and all of that. No, it's not. That's not what it's talking about. But it's talking about this in Ephesians 6 and 8. I think it's brother
Ephesians chapter 6 and verse 8. Knowing that whatsoever good thing any man doeth, the same shall he receive of the Lord, whether he be bond or free.
Salakia. I didn't mean to put Ephesians 6 and 8 in there. Still tracking. Give me 1 Corinthians 12 and 2. Salakia.
Ye know that ye were Gentiles, carried away unto these dumb idols, even as ye were led.
Right. So Ephraim was going to be referred to as what? A multitude of Gentiles, right? And when we go into the New Testament, there's a reason why Paul is looking to them and saying, ye know that ye were Gentiles, right? Now, if Gentiles can never, if Gentiles will always be Gentiles, if Israelites will always be Israelites, why is he saying, you know that ye were Gentiles? Because they were made to be Gentiles by what? Read that verse one more time.
1 Corinthians 12 and 2 from the top. And it reads, ye know that ye were Gentiles, carried away unto these dumb idols, even as ye were led.
The idols that they were serving made them become Gentiles, or like the Gentiles. Read verse number 23 back in our key reading. Azrael.
Verse 23, will not defile themselves with disgusting idols anymore, or corrupt themselves with sin.
Yes, they will not corrupt themselves with idols anymore. Why? Because they were Gentiles when they was carried to the idols, and now they're not. Keep reading.
Will free them from all the ways in which they sin and betray me. I will purify them. They will be my people, and I will be their God.
Right. They will no longer be looked at as Gentiles anymore. Right. They're going to be rectified and recognized as Israelites again. Right. And I walked you down that on purpose because the Ephraim and who the kingdom he was leading was going to become a multitude of Gentiles. Right. And people don't really see that in the Bible because they're not well studied in this thing. Right. They're not well studied in prophecy. And so when you go to the New Testament and they were being referred to as Gentiles, A lot of people think they're talking about actual Gentiles, and that's just not the case. You read verse 24 for me?
A king like my servant David will be their king. They will all be united under one ruler and will obey my laws faithfully.
Right. I wanted to highlight this in verse 24, right? In verse 24, it says, a king like my servant David, right? But we go and read it in the KJV, right? It's for all my OT only folks,
Bruh,
right?
I would just when we got out this live, I was literally gonna bring that verse up to y'all, bro. Like, I just listen to it.
Hey, look, man, it's the spirit. Look, Ezekiel 37:24 in the KJV. This is how it reads. Go ahead and read that for me. Anybody?
And David, my servant, be king over them, and they all shall have one shepherd. They shall also walk in my judgments and observe my statutes and do it.
Now, OT only folks would say, hey, man, we still waiting for David, right? I like the way the GNT puts this because it gives the proper understanding. Read verse 24 for me one more time.
A king like my servant David.
A king like my servant David, right? That's the proper understanding. And even more so, it's just talking about David and the seed of David, right? Because you are who your father is at the end of the day, right? My father's name, well, I won't give him his government name, right? But when I take on his last name, my kids will take on my last name, right? Because we're all the same seed, we're all the same bloodline, and really, we're all the same. I don't want to butcher this understanding, but we're all one and the same as the seed line is, right? In retrospect, you see somebody and they look like they daddy. That's why Eve is always talking about, you look just like your daddy, right? Every time you make a facial expression, you just like your daddy because you are who your father is, right? Now, David, he had wicked sons and he had righteous sons, right? We know that Christ, when he comes, he's going to be lumped in like his father David, and he's going to do as his father David did, and even better. And so that's the proper understanding there. As a king like my servant David will be their king, right? Read verse 26 for me.
I also want to make a notice too that, King David, remember when the nation split, right? Because he said here that there would be a king like the servant David will be united under one ruler. Keep in mind when the nation split in 1 Kings 11, I believe, they said, pretty much paraphrasing, right? Are we of your father David? Go get to your people and we'll get to ours. They pretty much was like, no, we're not under David, right? And that's pretty much because of the sin of David and the sin of David's kids. All these curses came upon, David to, the kingdom would be split. Right? This is how we know it's not talking about David, because under David, the kingdoms were not united. Right? If it was still up to David, a lot of the northern kingdom would still not want to come back. Oh, y'all saying we're in the kingdom, we're going to be under David again and all his wicked kids? Nah, I'm good. But that's why he had to send somebody that was blameless like Christ, so that the northern kingdom can be like, all right, this is a fresh start. We'll submit under this new rule, this new king. Right? I just wanted to point that out.
Colin, man, one thing I also want to say too is that for our OT only brothers, for anybody in general, we have to understand and accept the rules that come with prophetic language, right? When we go to the book of Revelation, he's talking about the daughter of Babylon and X, Y, and Z. We all understand that to be what? America, right?
Right.
It's not going to say America because the prophet John did not know that it was going to be called America, right? When he's given this vision, right? When the prophet Ezekiel was given this vision, he didn't know that Yahushai's name was going to be Yahushai. He just saw a man, and in his rulership, he was ruling like a ruler that he knew of, which was David. Man, this guy remind me of somebody, man. This guy he remind me of King David. So he wrote it down that way. But it's
that
all
would be like if you. Yeah, that would be like if you go to some random gym to play pickup basketball, and there's somebody in there killing. Man, he MJ. He's not really MJ. He may be doing some of the stuff MJ do. He may shoot like MJ, but he's not MJ, right?
Right, man.
But you're comparing him so that when you go back and talk to other people that weren't there, that didn't see the vision or that didn't see him play, right? You're conveying what he resembled, right?
Right. Not only
The
that,
prophet
man,
Ezekiel understood that under David, the nation of Israel at one point was under him. He was the last king where the nation was under him for real. Him and Solomon. So in his mind, he's like, I've never seen the nation together since David. So this next ruler, he's like David. The nation's both kingdoms are under him.
Right, man. Come, man. It's the same way, man, where just like the analogy that he just said about playing basketball, right? You recognize this person. This person, he plays like somebody I know, MJ, right? And then he earns that nickname, MJ. That's all David, the term David is in this prophetic language is a nickname. Oh, it's MJ. So when you take that after you leave the gym, even if you was there with somebody that was there when he received his name MJ, when you talking, hey bro, you remember that one play? No, I don't know what you're talking about. Remember MJ was on my left and you was on my right. Then they're like, oh yeah. Because now it's a proper understanding of the attributes to the nickname, right? That's not that brother's name, right? But that's who he plays like, right? That's who he reminds people of, right? He might even be better than MJ, but it's always the closest association when it's talking in prophetic language. You got to take that into account. You have to take that into account, right? Verse 26.
Verse 26. I will make a covenant with them that guarantees their security forever. Establish them and increase their population, and will see to it that my temple stands forever in their land.
Come, man. I'm gonna read that in the KJV real quick. Verse 26. And keep in mind, man. And keep in mind before he reads this, the context has already been established. He's talking about bringing what? Israel and Judah back together again. That's the whole context of this passage, right? Ezekiel 37:26.
Verse 26 in the KJV. Moreover, I will make a covenant of peace with them. It shall be an everlasting covenant with them, and I will place them and multiply them, and will set my sanctuary in the midst of them forevermore.
Man, so we go to, where is it? We go to in the Old Testament, we used to go to what's that? Isaiah is that Isaiah 66? Isaiah 61?
What you talking about?
The new covenant.
Huh?
You talking about Jeremiah 31?
Jeremiah, I'm tripping. Yeah, Jeremiah. We go to Jeremiah 30, right? I'm tripping. Salakia. We go to Jeremiah 30. I'm thinking about the
Jeremiah 31 and 31.
Jeremiah 31.
Yeah. Oh, 31. I'm tripping. See that, man? Brother getting rusty out here, man. You know what I'm saying? Jeremiah 31 and 31 is where we go to substantiate the New Testament. I mean, the New Covenant, right? In the Old Testament. But we can also go here too. This passage in Ezekiel 37, right? He's literally talking about bringing Israel and Judah back together again and making what? And this is in the KJV, right? He said, moreover, I will make a covenant with peace with them. It shall be an everlasting covenant with them. Meaning this is going to be the last covenant that he makes. So when you read this, it's not talking about anything that's pertaining to the Old Testament. This is in the future. Why? Because we know that the two kingdoms are going to be brought back together again. That never happened anytime in the Old Testament, right? Not only that, it was going to be an everlasting covenant. So we know for a fact that it hasn't happened before, and we're waiting for this to come, right? Give me what I got next. I think I got Hebrews 8. Let's go to Hebrews 8 real quick. Go to Hebrew 8 real quick. 8 and 8.
The book of Hebrew.
Yeah, go ahead.
The book of Hebrews, chapter 8 and verse 8. For finding fault with them, he said, behold, the day is come, says the Lord, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah.
With what?
With the house of Israel and with the house of Judah.
Right here, man, in verse 19, he says what he's going to do. I'm going to take the stick representing Israel and put it with the one that represents Judah, right? Now, somebody would read over this, right? Not really knowing that there was two kingdoms, not really knowing that they was operating like two different nations, right? And they would just think that he's just being redundant and he's repeating himself. No, he's talking about two different nations that he's going to bring back together. Keep reading.
Not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day when I took them by the hand to lead them out of the land of Egypt, because they continue not in my covenant, and I regarded them not, says the Lord. For this is the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, says the Lord. I will put my law in their minds and write them in their hearts, and I will be to them a God, and they shall be to me a people. And they shall not teach every man his neighbor and every man his brother, saying, know the Lord, for all shall know him, or know me, right, from the least to the greatest.
Right, man. This is that everlasting covenant. Read Ezekiel 37:26 one more time right here in the KJV.
Ezekiel 37:26. Moreover, I will make a covenant of peace with them. It should be an everlasting covenant with them, and I will place them and multiply them, and will set my sanctuary in the midst of them forevermore. So
add this to your precepts, right? What precept comes to mind after you read this? Go to Isaiah 45:17. Whoever, I think it's Brother Azrael.
Isaiah chapter 45 and verse 17. But Israel shall be saved in the Lord with an everlasting salvation. We shall not be ashamed, confounded, world without end.
Right, man. Add this to your precept ammo, man. These things link up, right? From the Old Testament to the New Testament, he's talking about the same thing. Bringing Israel and Judah back together again, giving them an everlasting covenant, right? And dwelling within the midst of them. We're going to get that too, right? Read verse 27 for me, right?
Verse 27. I will live there with them. I will be their God, and they will be my people.
What does this sound like, man? What does this sound like? Give me Joel 2:27.
Yeah. Joel chapter 2 and verse 27. And it reads, and ye shall know that I am in the midst of Israel, and that I am the Lord your God, and none else, and my people shall never be ashamed.
Right, man. Verse 26, right? At the end of verse 26, he said he will set his temple in the midst of them. Verse 27, he said, I will live there with them. He is in the midst of us, right? He will be in the midst of us. I will be their God, and they will be my people, right? Verse 28.
Verse 28. When I place my temple there to be among them forever, then the nations will know that I, the Lord, have chosen Israel to be mine own people.
Right, man. When I will place my temple there among them forever, because why? He's in the midst of us forever, right? Let's get some precepts for that. Deuteronomy 7:6, man. The classic.
Deuteronomy 7:6. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord thy God. The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth.
He has chosen us to be a special people to himself. What did verse 28 says? It says, have chosen Israel to be my own people. His own people. He has chosen a special people to himself to be above all the other people on the earth. And you know, one can argue we're going to be above everybody else because he is dwelling with us. When you're in a location that the king is in, right? By default, you're already in a higher position than everybody else, right? Who's holding Isaiah 61:8-9, right?
It's the book of Isaiah, chapter 61, starting at verse 8. For I, the Lord, love judgment. I hate robbery. For burnt offering, and I will direct their work in truth, and I will make an everlasting covenant with them.
There's again, man, Isaiah 6 in Isaiah, right? I know we went to Isaiah 45, but even in Isaiah 61, he's saying everlasting covenant with them. Keep reading.
And their seed shall be known among the Gentiles.
It says
and their
what?
offspring. And
It
their
says
seed
what?
shall be, and their seed shall be known among the Gentiles.
What does it say right here in verse 28 at the end? It says, the nations will know that I, the Lord, have chosen the Israel to be my own people, right? Man, all these books, they say the same thing. Keep reading.
And their offspring among the people. All that see them shall acknowledge them, that they are the seed which the Lord hath chosen.
They have to be able to do, they're going to be able, you must know this will happen, right? Who's holding second?
Right.
Esdras
Hey.
2 and 4. Go ahead.
Hey, two, when you discover the truth and you want to share the truth, and then people come against you, a lot of people come against the Israelites. And they say, why does that matter? Why does skin color matter? Why does it matter who people are? You got to show them prophecy. The prophecy says you must acknowledge us as his seed.
This is
not about
talking
pride.
About spiritual people, man. This is talking about the ethnic Israelites.
Yeah, man. You know, they're gonna try to make you feel like it's about pride and racial idolatry. Nah, man, it's about prophecy. You must acknowledge who God's people are. That's end times prophecy. You can't skip over that. I don't care if you don't like it. I don't care if it makes you feel uneasy. It's the Bible that you believe in, prophets and prophecy, saying that they shall see them and acknowledge. If you're gonna see us, you gotta, it's not spiritual because you're seeing who his people are, and you have to acknowledge this is the people that God's working through. So when we talk to Gus, what's his name? Gus at Valdosta, when we was in the city of Valdosta, I think his name was Gus. And Gus is like, well, I'm a Gentile, what do I have to do to get salvation? And we kept telling him, cleave, come to us. We're not saying to treat us like the Almighty, but your salvation is based upon us. You have to acknowledge who we are. That's prophecy, that these heathen and these Gentiles will see not only us, they'll look at my sons and be like, man, your sons are, your daughters are, they're gonna look at our seed and be like, this, all y'all are God's people. And if you can't get down with that, I'm sorry, you're gonna be some of the ones that's slain in that day. Y'all get down with the commandments. Y'all can get down with these Gentiles can get down with the feast days. They'll celebrate Passover, all that, tabernacle. Some of them even wear the tzitzits and the fringes. But when it comes to acknowledging God's people, they don't want to do that. And that's gonna be you gotta get down with everything that Christ is gonna be preaching. Right. If you don't acknowledge this prophecy, you're not gonna make it. You're gonna be slain too, because you can't get over it's not our pride, it's your pride that you can't get over.
Right, man. They're not gonna be able to get over the fact that in this kingdom now, man, you go out and about, you got your son with you. You know what I'm saying? You might run into a so-called white man and he got his son with him, and he got the nice Columbia fleece on. Right, the little kid got the nice Columbia fleece on with the gel in his hair, and it's nicely combed over, right? And he got the Sperry's on, right? And his dad thinking, he looks at his son way better than your son, because your son, you know what I'm saying, your son might be on the Nazarite vow with some locks, right? You know what I'm saying? He might got some New Balance or some tennis shoes on with a t-shirt on with some fringes on it. He like, yeah, my son, they don't equate 6'7". They don't equate. My son is definitely better than his. But the book of Isaiah said what? Right? The book of Isaiah said that they will look at our sons and know, right? That they are the children of God, that they are royalty, right? That they are above all nations. You know what I'm saying? So that acknowledgement has to come.
Yeah, man. I think that's the hardest part for them to do. Like you said, some of them can start keeping the commandments. They can get the fringes. The hardest part to do to a lot of them is just acknowledge who we are, man, because they still got that, I'm better than you spirit. Even though they may try to say they Cleveland now, they still, a lot of them still deep down inside feel like, you know, I'm better than you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I shouldn't have to listen to what you say. I am Israel. I'm Cleve. I'm not Cleve, but I'm grafted in. I'm grafted in, so I don't have to listen like nothing. You know, we the same people.
Hey, right, man. You know, a lot of them, they're coming to you, man. Ever since I give my life to, I stopped eating pork. I read what it says. We got to keep his commandments. I started keeping the Sabbath day, and blah. Once you tell them, yeah, but do you know who God's people are? Have you been helping God's people? I mean, why does it matter what color is? Like, why are y'all so into color? And why does it matter who God's people are? We're all his children, right? He created all of us. We're all sons of Adam. No, you need to acknowledge who his people are. And the only reason why you don't want to acknowledge who his people are is because you know they've been wronged for years, hundreds, thousands, years, decades, centuries. You know they've been mistreated, and you know that you have to acknowledge that. It's simple. There's some out there that will acknowledge, though, and be like, man, y'all, it is y'all. It's talking about y'all. I ain't gonna lie to you. It's talking about y'all. There's no way to deny it. And that lets me know everybody can see it. It's just whether their flesh is gonna let them agree and acknowledge it.
And you know, this crazy part is, man, you got some people that won't even acknowledge the progression of the Bible. You tell them, you know, we are how we think we Israelites, how we believe we're Israelites, and they'll be like, yeah, but we're all fellow brethren through our father Abraham, right, bro? The trajectory says Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. You can't just rewind and go all the way back to Abraham, bro. It's not about just Abraham, man. There's a trajectory that the Bible has that you have to respect. Even when you go to the New Testament, it says not just because they're all of the seed of Abraham are they all children of the promise, right? But Isaac shall thy seed be called. And who was Isaac's seed? It was Jacob, whose name was turned to Israel, right? Those are the children of the promise, right? We're not fellow heirs because you came out of Abraham. And a lot of y'all don't even know that. A lot of y'all didn't even come out of Abraham. Y'all think Abraham created every single race on the and nation on the planet. That's not the case. You might be talking about Noah, right? But we talking about Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, right? Give me the book of Isaiah. No, give me the book of 2nd Ezra 2:40. Right?
John, this is 2nd Ezra chapter 2 and verse 40. And it reads, take thy number, O Sion, and shut up those of thine that are clothed in white, which have fulfilled the law of the Lord.
Right, man. One, I want to stop right there, right? We're gonna finish out the rest of the that chapter, right? I think it's like 2 more precepts or 1 more precept, right? Right there, it says, put on white those that have fulfilled the law of the Lord. See, a lot of y'all think because Christ fulfilled the law of the Lord that we don't got to do it. No, we don't got to do it. No, he's coming back for the people that fulfill the law just like he did. Right? Keep reading though.
Verse number 41, it says, the number of thy children whom thou longest for is fulfilled. Beseech the power of the Lord that thy people which have been called from the beginning may be hallowed.
Who are the people that he called from the beginning? Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. Those are the people that's going to be standing there in that day, clothed in white, right? That had fulfilled the law, right? Is there any more on that?
We can read verse 42.
Go ahead.
I, Ezra, saw upon the Mount Sion a great people who I cannot number, and they all praise the Lord with songs.
It said a great people, man. I think in Revelation it says a great multitude. It's the same thing, right? But who do we know became a multitude of Gentiles, a multitude of nations, right? We know Ephraim did. We're talking about Israelites here in that multitude. It said that you cannot number. What did Hosea say he saw, right? That Israel was the sand of the sea that couldn't be numbered, right? Keep reading.
Verse 43, and in the midst of them there was a young man of a high stature, taller than the rest, and upon every one of their heads he set crowns, and was more exalted.
I shall wear a crown. These are the Israelites he's crowning, man. 2 verses ago, he just said the children that was spoken about from the beginning. That was promised from the beginning. We talked about the children of promise in the New Testament, the Israelites. Keep reading.
Yeah, man. I like when I was binge watching Game of Thrones, I liked it because it gave a lot of visual for how the Bible speaks. You'll have big kingdoms and small kingdoms, right? All throughout the book of or the Game of Thrones series. They might run into a small kingdom, might only have maybe 20 acres, right? But whoever's over that kingdom got a crown. It might be an old fat dude, but he got a crown, and his son will get the crown after him, and his son after him. And I like that because they're gonna be the Most High God and his son, they're gonna be passing out crowns, man. And in his kingdom, you're gonna get a reward for your doings. You're gonna get an inheritance. Whether that be a small inheritance or a large inheritance, if you make it to the kingdom, you were doing what you were supposed to do, and you're gonna get a crown, and you're going to be a ruler and a governor and a judge.
I just had to reiterate.
You're gonna have people. Go ahead.
I was saying, I just want to reiterate the fact that the people that are receiving these crowns were the ones that were found that fulfilled the law. The people that are receiving these crowns are the ones that were found keeping the law of God.
That people get done away with.
It's no different than Revelation 14 and 12. When the revelator John said, man, he pretty much saying, I'm at the end times, and there's a few people left. But everybody that I see that's left, they were found doing two things. They were found keeping the commandments of God and having faith in Christ. It's a cheat.
Faith and works.
It's a cheat code, man. He already let us know who's going to be at the end and what they're going to be doing, what they have been doing they pretty much their whole life. So why would you fight against what John saw? He already told you who he saw and what they was going to be doing, right? So for you to say that, nah, he's wrong, means that you might as well throw the whole book of Revelation out, because whatever John was seeing wasn't it. But nah, he gave us the cheat code already. So if you want to be that amongst them people that he saw, you got to be doing those two things. Keeping the law, fulfilling the law, like it says in Esdras, right? Keeping the faith of Christ. That young man that's putting crowns on everybody, right? You can finish that out, Brother Isaiah.
Yeah, I wanted to read it because it was going on, which I was saying anyway. Let's read finishing verse 43. It says, he set crowns and was more exalted, which I marveled at greatly. But verse 44, 45 really tell the point. It says, so I asked the angel and said, sir, what are these? He answered and said unto me, these be they that have put off the mortal clothing and put on the immortal, and have confessed the name of God. Now are they crowned and receive psalms. Receive palms.
Come on, man. They receive palms. I think in the book of Revelation, right? That it's the same multitude that he saw, and they all have palm wreaths in their hands. It's the same. Right. It's talking about the same thing.
A lot of these prophets, they talked about the same thing, bro.
They saw the same vision.
Saw the same thing,
right? But the good thing about it is when you read them, right, they just add more information every single time you read it, so you get the bigger picture. Because some of them was a little bit vague than others, but some were a little bit more detailed, right? And so that's all I have. But I want to read this in the KJV for you guys, man, because it sounds powerful, right? We're gonna read verses. This is still Ezekiel 37 in the KJV, and I'll read 26 through 28. It says, moreover, I will make a covenant of peace with them. It shall be an everlasting covenant with them. I will place them and multiply them, and will set my sanctuary in the midst of what? Them forever. My tabernacle also shall be with what? Them. Yea, I will be their God. They shall be my people. Adding context, because one might say, man, the them could be just the believers. Verse 28, it says, and the heathen the other nations shall know that I, the Lord, do sanctify who?
Israel.
He's being, and I love the fact that he ended with this, because if he didn't, one could say that he's just talking about the believers. But you can't get away from this. It says, when my sanctuary shall be in the midst of them, who he just said, Israel, forevermore, right? Forevermore, right? So always understand and know, like the title says, you must know this will happen, right? Anything else?
Mighty class, man.
You must know.
That's also a good lesson. No, that's also some good scriptures for Romans 11 that a lot of people like to go to Romans 11 and try to say, let's talk about everybody. You know, they're grafting in and talking about everybody, but it's still, you know, Paul knew the prophecies, right? Paul knew about the prophets. He believed everything the prophet said, so he knew what was supposed to happen. He knew what was supposed to come. So those good precepts to go with Romans 11 too.
Come on, man. Romans 11, man. Right?
Olive tree.
The olive tree, and being grafted in again.
Letting
you know that you had to be a part of this from the beginning. Letting you know. So when you understand that Israelites was referred to as Gentiles, right? When you understand that there's heathens referred to as Gentiles, when you put 2 and 2 together and says that they will be grafted in again, which one of those Gentiles were ever a part of the tree to begin with? It's not rocket science, man. It's talking about the Israelites, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's all I got. Any brothers got anything else?
Oh man, my class, man.
Khan, Shalom, man. Hope you guys have a good Shabbat. Hope you guys get the rest you need. Remember, Christ said, if you're not helping to gather, you're helping to scatter. Pray for us as we go out on the street corners and do this work, man. Pray that we stay in the spirit. Pray that we have a lot of good encounters, and pray that the work of the Lord goes forth. Without that being said, man, we will see you guys tomorrow with the brother Isaiah, Lord willing, and we say Shabbat Shalom, Shalom, Shalom.